You're listening to Radio Lewes, where the music matters, and welcome to another King Mob reissue. For the last couple of weeks, we'd been stuck in space, if you remember, and we'd recycled the water so much it was starting to taste like cheap lager, so it's a very good thing that this is the journey home.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Worldwide? This is galaxy-wide. Ben and I, as people who've been listening to the last two episodes will know, are stuck in outer space. And only last week we were attempting to do a gig on Mercury. Then we went to a null space corridor, whatever that is, and ended up on the rim. Apparently we're on the rim now. And we were picked up, luckily, by Bootsy Collins in his mothership, which is huge, and I'll describe it soon. But the point being, we're a long way out and still a long way back. It just ended like that, just chopped off. What's all that about? Hey, Rolling Stones, remember the fade? Anyway, speaking of fade, here we are on the mothership, which is just absolutely huge. And I got to say, George has made a fantastic job of it. He brought up all his relatives, and the crew is all, well, it's attractive women, and all the crew's wearing like leather hot pants and these pink halter tops. I did think his granny looked a bit odd in it. But anyway, it's fabulous. And they're now working on what is called our interstellar drive to get us back. That's the point. But while we're here, it's good to have a look around. And we just went in the space cafeteria, which was absolutely fantastic. And you could get, I say fantastic, the food was a bit weird, but you can get dishes from all over the galaxy. Ben had the fine broth from the planet Gaspacho, which was a bit disappointing because it just turned out to be like a cold tomato soup with a bit of cucumber in. I went for the eggs Nostromo, but, I mean, honestly, they were the size of a basset hound, those things, and they looked like they were made of jelly, and they moved about a bit, so I didn't fancy that. In the end, I settled for a deep-fried Mars bar with creme fraiche. And so, anyway, fair enough. But the best thing about the cafeteria was they had a jukebox. Anyway, now we're doing like a tour of the ship, and apparently they've got like an earthly science fiction museum, which has got, I don't know, kind of history of science fiction. I'm looking forward to see it. But it's down the other end of the ship. It's going to take us a while to get there. And they couldn't spare anybody to be a guide. So what we've got in front of us, and it really looks realistic. You look realistic. Anyway, it's a holographic version of Miles Davis, the famous trumpet player. And he's got the words ESP sort of tattooed on his head. Yeah, you can stop now, Miles. Thanks. No, Miles. Enough. No, but... Thank you. No, Miles. Finally. Anyway, nice as it was, I'm excited to go in the museum. It's huge, and you kind of go up to these like weird booth things and press a button, and then you'll see like a diorama, and there'll be multimedia because there's information coming up, and film and thing, and Dr. Zoidberg. Did the music go there? Oh, yes it did. You naughty Dr. Zoidberg, but I like you. I love things that end with explosions. That's why I like 7 and 7 is by love, because it ends with like a bomb going off. I always wanted to make a record that ended with a bomb going off, and I'm not sure that I ever did. But, there's still a future, and that was Futurama. There's still a future if we get back to Earth, but I hope everything's going fine, working on the interstellar drive. Interstellar? Anyway, it doesn't really make sense to me, but none of this makes sense to me. Neither does this next little display here, which looks rather odd. And people are wearing period costume, and it says September the 17th, 1896, concerning the UFO sighting near Highland, Illinois. Now that's definitely weirdly wrong. I think this machine must be just... Hang on, I'm just going to... Yeah, it's like a Fonz thing. I'm just going to sort of bash it, and hope now that it works. Even though it's sci-fi, it's maybe still primitive. So wish me luck, everybody out there. This should be the UFO sighting. Well, that was curious, and an argument's broken out between Ben and I about Lost in Space TV show. Was the robot... I mean, you might remember the Lost in Space TV show. It kind of went like this. Hang on, let me... Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's cute. So our argument, though, was that weird robot from Lost in Space, which is it exactly the same robot from the film Forbidden Planet? I think it is, and Ben doesn't. But I guess we can access the museum's interface to find out. Anyway, it's more or less, look, it's the same robot. It's the same. Look, the pictures are very similar. All they did, they took the old robot from the Forbidden Planet show, and then they sort of jury-rigged it a bit to form the robot for the thing. I mean, those days, that's what they did. And, I don't remember this. Hang on, let's listen, this is good. Wow, that's fabulous. Because what it says here, it's played as both seasons' music. So that was, first of all, you heard the music from season 1 of Lost in Space, and then you heard the music from season 2, which that was fantastic. I've never heard it before. I don't even remember it. But what a great piece of music, and it's been proved beyond doubt, whatever Ben thinks, that basically it was just the same robot and they just messed it about a bit. Lost in Space was Swiss Family Robinson, really, set in outer space with a family and an unpleasant but quite interesting doctor that was a bit camp. That's what I remember about it. And that was in the 60s, but then, here's one dedicated to the 1950s, and that's when the UFO thing really kicked off. Now, if I didn't know better, that's Billy Lee Riley with Flying Saucer Rock and Roll. And if I didn't know better, I'd think that was exactly the same as his hit Red Hot, with different lyrics about science fiction. But bless him for doing that. And it somehow does sum up that wonderful... I'm getting all nostalgic about 50s and alien invasions with UFOs. But the next part of the exhibition details an invasion of the Earth that I didn't even know about. And it happened in 2016 when crystalline creatures from the planet Zarx invaded the Earth. Why you haven't heard about it is because we didn't notice. They were going at a vibratory rate quite different to our own, and the two things didn't mesh, so they were here and they were moving about, but they couldn't touch anything or affect anything, so they just pushed off because we were just a little too slow.
Don't leave on the ground kind. Boom, just a little too
And now, here's this strange little kind of Chinese-looking, willow patterny-looking diorama thing with a enormous pagoda in a glade and a picture of like a space warrior, and it's the tomb of the unknown space ghost. Fascinating. Absolutely.
I show you like now.
Fascinating.
It burns forever.
Oh, something's coming out. This little slug-like creature's kind of coming out of the pagoda now. Doesn't look much like a space ghost to me. It looks like a sort of weird, I don't know. Ooh, and now it's glowing all warm. I rather like it. Let's stay with it. Has it got music? Is it? Just press that little... There. Yeah, lovely. I've got a very nice feeling now. I feel a bit... incidental. Look at that. It's got the face of like a Chinese woman and little wings. And now it's just flying around the pagoda. Ooh, they're really nice.
You look different.
Ooh. It's left a lovely warm vibration in the air, which I'm about to spoil because it's a bit of ego boo for me now. Ego boo, ego boost, reinforcement. Anyway, it turns out, although I only have a tiny little bit in this display, massive display, I do have a tiny little bit. I'm under the heading Space Pirates, and here's China Waters with King Mob. That's me. That's not China Waters. Even I know that. They've made a mistake. They put the wrong track in there. Can we get the technician over, please? Look, I'm the fella what did it, and I know it's wrong. And, you know, if other people or other aliens come to see this, the way you've got it set up, it'd be the wrong track. It'd be like I was there rather than China Waters. Can you fix it, please? Well, that's it. A bit of banging, and that's supposed to... Go on, then. I'll press the button again, but if not, I'm going to be very, 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 very... annoyed. Now I'm absolutely furious because that's not it. Now, listen, can we get Bootsy down here, because I'm being messed about now. I'm almost apoplectic, and I can't even ever say that. Can we have another go, please? This better be it. Thank God for that. Well, finally, Honor is sort of satisfied. I've got a little place in it. Oh, I've got a little... See, they couldn't even get it to finish properly. Anyway, very excited about the next exhibit because it's Space 1999. And you will remember, everybody remembers Space 1999 was a mad TV show where they put an engine in the moon and flew it about. Ben's shaking his head at me, but that's as I remember it, and it says more or less that here. It says they had to take over the moon, and they put a rocket engine in the moon, and because the Earth got destroyed, and then they flew off, and then they could never get the moon. They were looking for another planet to hook it up to. Yes, and it was Martin Landau, who was brisk on once did a film score for a film he was in called Empire State. Martin Landau, a very good actor. Forced to wear a mad suit. The lovely Barbara Bach, who always wore a bra, even though none of the other female cast members did. And then the man who won Sideburns of the Year 3 years in a row, Barry Morse, the legend. They were so big and so huge, it looked like a forest either side of his face. And then there was that woman. Oh, look, there's a photo of her here that, it's moving about now. She could turn into, I don't know, like a lynx or a hyena or a cat-like type thing. And very attractive she was as well. So, I'm proud to play the theme from Space 1999 by Sir Barry Gray. He's not actually a sir, but I like to think of him that way. Well, went a bit mad at the end there, but that's wonderful. That's full of vim and vigour. And, well, that's more or less the end of our tour, because apparently I just got a hyper message that everything's fixed on the ship and we're going to be able to go back to the Earth. So I'm very excited about that. But before we do, I just want to nip over, because there's the tripods. You may not remember it, but it was supposed to be a 3-season series, and they only ever had 2. And it was these metal machines that were tall and never said anything and herded people about, and it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I'm looking now at the display, and there's nothing in it. It's all empty. So I don't know where it's gone. Anyway, I guess we've got to get upstairs. Just bear with me a second. Okay, we're upstairs now. And I'm just easing myself into the chamber, because they've very special chambers built, because, I know. The thrust of the thing will be too much for us. I mean, this way we can get back in like minutes, apparently. But the thrust would be too much for Ben and I to stand without this kind of weird padded suit and a helmet. But they are playing some nice relaxing music while this is going on. Oh, it's very nice. So excuse me now while Ben and I just get the padded suits and the helmets on, and I'll enjoy this music.
Det kikets minnesbil. The kikets minnesbil. The kikets minnesbil.
Right, well, we're all padded up, and are we nearly ready to go? Apparently, we're nearly ready to go. But just before I put this outfit on, I just had the strangest feeling that I was the film director Roman Polanski, and I was in Paris. And it was 1986. See you on the other side.
C'est beau, Romain. C'est beau.
Got any morning papers yet? Too early. A sandwich. Thanks.
My mouth said that cotton on that. Hang on. We're back. There it is. I can see it. The earth. A shining green and blue bauble. And we're coming in. Oh. We're going to land in Switzerland. We're heading for Lake Como. Coming down slow. This is gorgeous. I feel whatever that gas was that they gave me in the foam suit, I'd like to get some more of it because it makes you feel very nice in areas that you don't usually talk about on the radio. Wait a minute. What's that? That's a tall metal thing. Ben, they're here. I don't know how they did it. Well, I guess at least we're going to find out now. How does the tripods end?
Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.